to go into details of ethical dimensions of the issue. So I will quickly go over the issue. David Cameron, Prime Minister of UK, gave a speech at Parliament in August 2011. He was very angry, and he was speaking about banning social media. Why? Why would he do that? He had a reason. Just some time ago, before his speech, riots happened in the UK. It started with an incident in London, and then it spread to 7 other cities. How did this happen? Later, government found out that people organized over social media, and that's how these riots jumped from London to even Manchester and Liverpool. They are quite far cities. So this brings an issue actually to you, the board members, board directors, CEOs of various social media companies. And that's why you hired us. We are external consultants from Warwick Business School that will help you about this issue. So the issue is government thinks that people are organizing over social media. They are spreading misinformation over social media. Government wants to ban social media. So this is a serious business issue for you. Why? Because you would lose number of users, you will lose reputation, and of course you will lose money. So our case is social media versus the states. Are they enemies? Are they friends? Or are they partners? Now, this issue has, as we know, 3 dimensions: ethical, financial, and legal. Tonight we are going to focus on ethical dimensions. This issue has 3 stakeholders actually. First one is social media companies, second one is the government, and third one is the public, people. So if we quickly talk about ethical issues facing all of these stakeholders, social media companies are facing ethical issues because in 2011 they were forced to remove some posts, they were forced to ban some users, and they had to do it. So they had to make an ethical decision. In one hand, they wanted to keep freedom of speech. On the other hand, there was pressure from government. So they were in an ethical dilemma. It's a similar case for government actually. Government is there to keep the public rest, but they wanted to prevent the riots also. So they had to make an ethical decision also. Without disturbing people, they had to prevent the riots. There are some ethical issues about people, like freedom of speech and free and unlimited access to information. So, according to us, this issue brings a big question. Should social media be regulated to prevent people from organizing over it? We will try to answer this question with 3 scenarios. One is what we call the enemies paradigm. Second is let's be partners. Third, friends, not partners, which is our proposed solution. Then we will talk about ethical questions about our solution, and we will conclude with recommendations to you board members. So I will start with the enemies paradigm. Enemies paradigm means you as social media providers don't take any action. You do what you do, and eventually government will take an action. And that action that may not be very useful for you. So now Sharat will take over, and he will continue with the rest of 2 scenarios and our proposed solution.
Thank you, everyone. So we clearly think that the enemies paradigm is not a good solution because the name says it all, right? So we think that we have a solution here, and what we suggest is that we trawl the data that is on your platforms. Now, this would raise a lot of eyebrows because you're going to trawl the data that is available to everyone, and people could actually think that users could get identified. But we're going to do this anonymously. And the way it's done already by Google Analytics. So it's nothing new, it's already there, but we are extending it. We are extending it in a big way. And it's something which you see it in day-to-day life in your emails. Google actually has the user information, and they have your likes and dislikes, which they use for marketing. So that's already there. But we are going to suggest this solution, but we don't know which way to implement it. Should we be partners or should we be friends? And what do we mean by partners? When we're talking about partners, you are going to be with the government, monitoring the media in close cooperation with the government. Now that raises a couple of red flags right away. You don't want the corporate and the government in cahoots, so to speak, simply because the corporates are looking at profits, the government looking at serving the state. And there's a clear conflict of interest there, and we also think that there could be malicious use by the government itself. So we don't want a partnership per se, we are going towards a friends paradigm. So it's not partnership, but we are going to provide a service to the government, a clear red line, a Chinese wall, if you will, which says that we are providing you a service, we are going to give you the tools, we are going to give you the training, and you are going to trawl the data yourself and look at whatever information you want to extract from there. Now, this solution is not going to be available all the time, which is why it's going to be strictly access controlled and available to the intelligence agencies, and also location based, so that, for example, if there's a riot in the UK, all the posts emanating from the UK would be available to the intelligence agencies, but not from all over the world, just to make it more siloed and protected. So now, again, this still is not a clear-cut solution. There is a gray area. There is loss of privacy, because you are still monitoring the data that's coming in from these platforms. Now, you're going to weigh that up against the greater good for society as a whole. So, kind of a utilitarian analysis going on there. And loss of privacy, when you think about that, on the one hand, you aren't getting user information, you are only getting post information, so trends, for example. So it isn't a complete violation of user privacy. But on the other hand, you can stop the riots from spreading. For example, loss of life. In the UK, there were 5 lives lost. Could have been reduced. A lot of situations could have been stabilized as well. So when you compare the two, it seems like the greater good lies in actually going ahead with the solution. Given that it's a compromise, you're doing this anonymously. Now, in terms of how this can be done without losing your revenue, it would be PR. If the message goes through correctly to the users, it would make sense to them. And I think it was Michael Sandel who talked about during one of his Justice series, and I think it was he was quoting Mill, and he said that if you add the benefits and then you take away the costs, if you do a cost-benefit analysis, if you can maximize happiness and lessen suffering, it's a good result. And we think the Friends paradigm is something that is going towards that result. So to conclude, we don't like status quo. You could have an adverse legislation coming your way. And we propose anonymized trawling, and not as partners, but as friends. And more importantly, the way to figure out if this has been accepted by the users is to see if the key success factor of terms and conditions that you're going to put out there to the users are acceptable, and if it has been accepted. And this, we think, in the long term, although in the short term there could be a fall in user numbers, it may be a fall in some of your revenues, in the long term it's going to give you profitability and also reputation, which is something you can't really gain back once you've lost. So thank you. That's about it.
Thank you.